You just said something that I think is inherent in the idea of the ascendance of nerdery, which is the idea that I always talk about when I talk about what I do what I do because I was such a nerdy, isolated kid, and I felt so weird.
Yeah.
And I want kids like me to not feel isolated and weird the way that I do.
So that makes them swerve harder into the community.
Much harder.
Is the fact that you felt weird and that isolationism, did that actually, in a way, have some positive effects on your creativity later? So, if this actually is happening for real, if we kind of, it's like, it does seem to a degree that, it's like this, the idea of nerds winning. It's like they're kind of the thought leader, like Judd Apatow or whatever. He was a comedy nerd who loved Dungeons and Dragons, and now he puts them in his shows. Yep. And they say, so if that happens, will the polarity switch, and like the non-nerd be the person who feels isolated, and will they later then become the thought leader?
I don't think so. I think that you got to something important there, which is everybody feels weird. Everyone feels embarrassed about being themselves. True. Everyone feels lonely. I mean, that's life.
Every player has a responsibility here, and the problems we've got today just don't spring from people's opposition, blind opposition to the president. They come from honest disagreements and from the president mishandling this relationship from top to bottom.
One second, though. But what you seem to be glossing over in that equation is the fact that Democrats actually were willing to compromise, right? And every poll that is now taken of Republican voters, and they ask, well, you want someone who is willing to compromise or who will stick to their position, they always say, unlike independents, unlike Democrats, say, I want someone who's going to stick to their position and do not compromise.
And if I had to name one reason why it's broken, it is the power of money in this system today. It is the poison in the system. And I know it's always been there. I know that we had bosses in the past. I know there was corruption in the past. It's the amount of time that it takes our politicians to raise the funds. It's the special interest that they are then beholden to. It's the fact that they're not doing the business of the country. And I blame everybody for it. Because
if the universe is indeed chaotic, if this is the one small way I can exert some control over it in the fiction that I write, maybe that's why I am drawn to writing in the first place, creating stories in the first place, stories that work out with some sort of sense of justice. I'm rambling. Having said all that, if you watch the last episode, it's either a just ending or not, but at least there is a fulfillment of some kind at the end of it all. There is a shape to it that is perhaps neither happy nor sad, but at least pleasing and fitting.
I can't believe how unproduced this show is. And quite literally, we lob out a challenge and we step back and just wait to see what happens. I mean, even the designers think that the button bag, if you've seen the show when I'm pulling names or Heidi is, that it's all fixed. It's never fixed. Wow. I'm not smart enough to fix something. And I'm too clumsy reaching in to be able to stack these things in such a way that it could be faked. But we're authentic, and
it's implicitly about creativity and making something.
Yes.
And if you think about the hallmark of reality television, it's about people who don't make something and don't, walk around with the Kardashians who don't have a skill set.
Exactly.
What about for your show? Something you didn't know your mind could do and something you didn't know your body was capable of?
Well, I think that all of the things that the body can do, it's so deeply connected to the mind. Because really, most of us, we recoil at discomfort, and especially at pain. We stop doing that thing that hurts. And it's really hard, first of all, to sit on a stage and complain about my 6 toenails that fell off when I'm sitting here with Diana Nyad. But
everybody gets a pass.
It was.
No, please go ahead.
It was, it was painful. It was really painful to sometimes literally to just put, to take each step. I would count up to 10. I would take 10 steps, and then I would count backwards, and I'd count up to 100. I tried all these mental tricks to get my mind off of the pain. And I think that I'll be curious to hear. I'm sure Diana had to do this kind of mind control thing too. You have to take command of yourself and say, I can do this even if it hurts. And I think that in my experience, once I did that, like if I could do that physically, I could do it in all of these other areas of my life. And it was a sort of one of the most powerful things I've ever learned is how do you talk to yourself? Because I think that the way we talk to ourselves in so many ways defines who it is we are in the world.